Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
I remember in high school on the basketball team, we're getting ready for our practice to start. Girls basketball team, they're getting ready for their away bus to show up. They in the gym hanging out. Some of the cheerleaders were in there. And I think, you know what? I'm going to show out. So I jump up, throw myself a self lob, catch it with two hands. It slams off the back of the rim. My legs swing from under me. And if you've ever seen some of the falls that take place in Tony Hawk's Underground, you know how painful it is to fall like that from 10 feet in the air. I thought that was going to be my most painful basketball experience, but I decided to waste 6.5 hours to watch 3 Miami Heat playoff games this year. That's pain. Okay, I can count the ways that this is wrong. I can count all the things that's wrong in this series. I can count all the ways, but I mean, 37-45, you're a 10th seed in the playoffs. It makes sense, all right? But let's talk about all of the things that need to take place this offseason. Nikola Jovic, gone. Andrew Wiggins, gone. Terry Rozier, gone. Jaime Jaquez, gone. Haywood Highsmith, gone. Let's count the players that can actually stay. Tyler Hero, look, you a cone on defense. You try, but I'll take 24, 5 and 5 on almost 50, 40, 90. I'll take that. All right, so you can stay. Bam Adebayo, if you're not going to be the second option, if you're just going to focus on being a dominant defensive player, facilitator, point forward, you can stay. Davion Mitchell, I don't have any complaints. Do what you do. You're probably going to be a backup next year, but do what you do. You can stay. Khalil Ware, I mean, you'll get there. A lot of potential. Can knock down the outside shot, block shots. Got to work on your awareness. Got to work on your feet movement, but you can stay. Eric Spoelstra, shaky year, tough year, but I don't completely blame you because we also got to talk about the fact that Jimmy Butler nuked the situation, all right, took matters into his own hands, and he chose to go a different route. Cool. And I'm not mad at Jimmy because guess what? Number one, if I'm expected to be the guy that you want me to be, you need to pay me. If I'm Pat Riley, if you want me to pay you that money, you need to show up for more than 55 games a year. Both sides are fair. Jimmy won. Okay, we send Jimmy. Bring in Andrew Wiggins. By the way, Andrew Wiggins, you're gone too. Andrew Wiggins comes in. We expect him to put up 20, 25 a night, get the job done on a nightly basis, alongside Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. The man is non-existent in this series. Non-existent. Non-existent. I think he has his numbers like 10, 12, and 14, the 3 games of the series. Terrible. Cannot rely on him to get by anybody. Like, I've seen cones on defense, but this man is a cone on offense too. It's mind-boggling. So there's a number of things going on with this series. Quite frankly, Cleveland's the better team, 64-18. Even without Darius Garland, and mind you, the comments he made about Tyler Hero also apply to himself because they have the same defensive rating, and Miami's shooting close to 70% when Garland's guarding anybody. So let's not pretend that, DG is like that. He's not defensively, although he's probably my favorite PG, as far as the young guys go. So Cleveland's just a better team. That's quite, easy to point out, right? Pacers Bucks. Pacers Bucks is basically, and the past 2 years has been like this, the healthier team is going to have more success. All right. Indiana Pacers, the more healthier team. Dame is coming back from blood clots, and he's been out a month. You're not going to expect him to come in and start dropping 25 and 8 again. Or, first of all, he missed a month to end the season, and then you drop him in playoff basketball on top of coming back from a serious injury where he can basically do nothing, have no basketball activities, do nothing, right? So you dropping him in playoff basketball, he's not going to look great. I think you got, 37, 38, something crazy like that from Trent. Much needed, right? But the thing about that series is 2-1 series. Pacers, right? Damian Lillard hasn't played well yet. And we haven't seen the game where, Giannis plays like Giannis every single night, right? So I don't really think there's a regular season to playoffs difference. Giannis is going to be Giannis. But I don't think we've seen that game where Giannis is absolutely dominant in every facet of the game, and he's 100% dominating the game to where you look at it and you say, all right, this is the Giannis win for the series. We got the others win. That was game 3. All right, Trent stepped up. That was his game. Giannis is going to have a game. Damian Lillard is going to have a game. And then you get to a point where Doc Rivers needs to have a game where he's out coaching Rick Carlisle. That's where they run into trouble because Doc Rivers rarely out coaches anybody. But see, so you follow me, right? The others, the stars, the coach. That's what it's going to take to win that series. I think, Indiana's playing the way that they always play. All right. They're always going to play up to their competition when it comes to the playoffs. And occasionally they will play down to their competition in the regular season. That's why they're typically hanging around the 4, 5, and 6 seed in the playoffs. But I mean, that series, if Dame can return to form, Indiana's in trouble because Dame played like trash the other night. He was like 1 for 10 and they still won that game. So the fact that you get that performance from Damian Lillard and you get a win, that's not a good sign for Indiana. All right, that's not a good sign. So right now it's looking like it's going to be a 7-game series, especially if everybody can return to form for Milwaukee. No Kuzma sighting, no Lopez sighting, no Prince sighting. Everybody's just really looking at Giannis like, hey, you might have to carry all of us the rest of this series. So I expect that to go the long distance. New York versus Detroit. My biggest issue with this series is New York is playing playoff basketball. They're just not shooting the ball well. Detroit is still playing regular season basketball. And I mean that by the sense that look at some of the shots that they're taking, right? Late game situation. I'm pretty sure it was game 3. No, it was game 2. Game 2. A lot of the shot selection was just terrible down the stretch. Not getting the right shots at the right times and not understanding that, yes, in the regular season, sometimes you can get away with a role player, taking an ill-advised shot, living with the consequences in the playoffs. At certain moments, Cade Cunningham is the only person I want touching the basketball. Cade Cunningham is the only person I trust to make all of my decisions clutch time. Look at New York side. Jalen Brunson is the only one handling. Jalen is the only one initiating. Everything goes through him. Not a single time do they make a trip up the basketball court and he doesn't receive the basketball, get a touch, make a play. Same case needs to be with Detroit. Beasley playing pretty well. Hardaway played a great game last game. Everybody's playing their roles, right? But in the playoffs, you got to understand. A pull-up 3, 2 minutes to go, and it's a 1-score game by a role player not named Cade. X now on the oop it stay. All right. Get off of it. Move the rock. Get it back to Cade. But I like the way that series is going. Physical, like every other series. Orlando and I almost said it. All right. Almost said it. Orlando and the team in green. That series is probably in a situation where, like I said about Indiana and Milwaukee, the healthier team is going to have more success. The team in green, they struggling because physically Tatum is beat up. Brown is beat up. Now they complaining about it, so that's not a good sign because Magic, they're just going to play on that. They got a lot of bodies they can put out on the floor and put in front of these two guys, not to stop them, just to give them trouble, just to wear them down at several positions. And one thing I don't like about Orlando is they have the ball in Banchero's hands too much to initiate the offense. Way too much. Way too much. And when I look at the way that, Wagner's playing, Anthony, he's playing well. Jonathan Isaac playing his role. Wendell Carter Jr. playing his role. This is a series where you could use Mo Wagner a little bit more, right? Because you have the bigs for Boston spacing the floor. You need another guy that can get out there, but also you got to have somebody that can protect the rim, box out, get boards and stuff like that. So I think the advantage for Boston is they have several guys that's going to crash the boards every single time. But Orlando was able to, oh man, I said it. Team in green, All right, because we don't like even saying their name on this channel. We don't even like reference them entirely by their name. We call them the Team in Green for a reason, because we absolutely detest that organization. But as I was saying, Orlando, they playing physical. They're getting to the Team in Green mentally. They have to stay in that vein, but they also got to remember the same thing I said about Detroit. Make sure your best players have the ball in their hands at the right moments, but not every single moment throughout the course of the game. Because guess what? If I always know where Banchero is because he has the basketball, there's no mystery to your offense. We know it's heavy isolation, 5 out, get downhill, right? That's the same thing over and over and over again. Mix it up, all right? Have them come off a pin down, curl, get a mid-range, right? Something to mix it up every now and then to where you're not always having the basketball in your hands and all 5 set of eyes are looking at you. I expect that series to go the distance. Team in Green probably get this one in 6 because, more experience, championship pedigree, and Joe Mazzulla is the better coach. That's just the way I feel about that one. Out west, it has now been confirmed year after year, but, obviously we already knew this. But out west, the Memphis Grizzlies are indeed not fine in the West. John Morant is probably going to be on the move. Everybody's talking about Miami. Don't really see the fit. All right, Miami, I'm looking at somebody like Trae Young might be at a better fit at the PG spot. Move Mitchell to the bench, and we see how things play out from there. But John Morant could have played his last game in Memphis. Very, very likely he played his last game in a Memphis Grizzlies jersey. But, what do you expect? OKC came into this series the largest point differential in league history over a course of 82 games. You're playing an 8th seed that had to play and win games just to make sure they had a playoff spot. So, we knew what was going to happen. We knew OKC hadn't played a game against Memphis all year where they hadn't won by more than 13 points. You know what it was, but John Morant going down with an injury in Game 3. Knew that comeback was going to happen. Game 4 comes around. Grizzlies put up a great fight. You go down swinging. That's admirable. But now we all right, is it time to move on from Ja? You got to answer those questions. There's one series I'm going to hold off on talking about because I'm going to hold off on talking about both of these, the games that played today, Nuggets, Clippers, and Rockets and Warriors. Let's talk about the Lakers and Timberwolves. LeBron James, everybody talks about how old he is. Everybody talks about, he shouldn't be doing. Listen, if you're on the basketball court, there's going to be expectations. That's just the way it is. I'm not of the mindset, hey, you're 40, you get a pass. I'm not saying that game was on him, but I'm just seeing a lot of the comments being thrown around like, no, he's wearing a Lakers jersey. They're in the playoffs. There's expectations that come with that, all right? Played out of his mind. All right? I actually took him to go 25 points. The man put up 38. My biggest thing with that series is there's no new information provided. There's nothing we didn't already know. Are we going to attack Luka every time we come down? Yes. Are we going to attack Rudy Gobert every time we come down? Yes. Everything I said about the Los Angeles Lakers held true. All right. They're going to swarm around. They're going to fly around. The problem is Memphis is shooting very well in their wins. And majority of it is because Anthony Edwards is moving the ball. He's getting off the ball. He's trying to get play. Perfect example. All right. There was a play, and I think it was the first half. They're in Minnesota, and Anthony Edwards had Luka Doncic on him. All right. But he didn't just, all right, cross half court, clear it out. I'm going to go do my thing. He came across half court, seen Luka, and he surveyed the court. He seen that Julius Randle was being guarded by Gabe Vincent. They had a split-second argument because Anthony Edwards wanted him to go straight to the block. Julius wanted him to go one-on-one. Anthony Edwards missed the layup, but the idea is that we're not just playing off strict athleticism. We're trying to think the game through. And right now, when you look at the Lakers side, LeBron, Luka, and JJ Redick, those three minds, okay, are having a hard time coming up with ways to stop the bleeding right now offensively, or I say defensively, because Timberwolves are knocking down shots. They're knocking down shots. Let's look at this, okay? Game 1, Julius Randle, 4 of 6. 3 of 3 from McDaniels, 2 of 3 from Conley, 4 of 9 from Anthony Edwards, 6 of 9 from Nasri. I mean, how do you stop that, right? All right, cool. So you say, you know what? Law of averages, everything should return back to normal in game 2, which it did. All right, the defense for the Lakers, very stout. Got out the shooters, made sure, all right, Julius Randle, 2 of 4. 0 of 3, 0 of 3, 2 of 8, 1 of I mean, they made it a point because getting up only 25 threes, I mean, that seems like a low number, and they're only hitting a low clip. But you look at this side, right? I talked about it. The guys I want to have the ball must have the ball every single possession in the playoffs. 8 of 19, not mad at that. 21 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. That's a good game. 31, 9, and 12, 20 shots. That's a good game. 16, 5, 5. That's a good game. 14 shots. This is what I'm looking at. All right. 19, 20, 14. And are you being efficient with it? And then you come here. 7 assists, 9 assists, 5 assists. That means your 3 best players are setting the table for everybody else, and they're making sure they're taking the responsibility on themselves to put the ball in the hole. All right. That's what I like to see from the big 3 for the Lakers. What I don't want to see is this. All right. We're going to look at game 3. What I don't want to see is, all right, 38, 10, 4. LeBron's doing his thing, being very efficient, 5 threes, 7 for 10, right? 7 for 18, 5 of 11, 20 points. This is what I don't want to see right here. I don't want to see 17 from Luka. I don't want to see anything lower than 25 for Luka, because guess what? Yeah, 5 turnovers, 17 points, minus 16. The reason why it's bad for when I'm looking at Luka's numbers, right? We know defensively you are going to be targeted every trip down. You're the primary target. You cannot give up way more than you get. All right. I need to see 25, and I need to see at least 9, 10. I mean, assists aren't too bad, so you're good there. A little bit more efficient, but I don't want to see 17 points. 25 or more on that card, because Anthony Edwards got 29. Randall got 22. McDaniels got 30. They did their job. And the reason why this 30 is so important, because if you watch the games, you know who his matchup is. It's this dude. He's matched up with Luka Doncic on both sides of the court. So if he's being outplayed in his matchup to this extent, I mean, 30 to 17, and they lose by 12. I mean, the math is mathing right now. So you cannot lose that matchup when your matchup is McDaniels. McDaniels is a really good player. Really good player. But he's out there to be a defensive stopper, and you gave up 30 points to him. That can't happen. Clippers Nuggets, man. That was a crazy finish. Crazy finish, all right? Those games, very close, very competitive, other than game 3. Was it, you know, a made basket, 0.1 seconds or whatever the case was when the ball goes through the hoop? I think the thing that they're looking for is, did the ball pass through the basket before the lights came on? Not was he still touching the basketball, I think, because, I mean, on the dunk, it looked very clear that his hands were not on the ball. Yeah, but anyway, I try to explain this. I mean, some people are going to say good basket. Other people are going to say no. I just think, you know, with this series, every point is going to matter. Every basket is going to matter. Just look at this real quick. Tough shot. And, I mean, it looks like a bang-bang play. Looks very simultaneous. But as far as I'm concerned, it is what it is. It's the playoffs. Not every call is going to be perfect. That's a big call to look at. But you got to think. On the floor, it was a made basket. So you need overwhelming evidence to say this is not a made basket when you go to review it, even at the end of the game. So, I mean, The basket stands. One thing that I don't like about this series is they're not getting a whole lot from their bench. I mean, and this is what you fired Mike Malone for. You fired Mike Malone because he wasn't playing this dude. He wasn't playing Jalen Pickett. Got 6 minutes, not performing. Kankar, not performing. Watson, he played 13 minutes, but that's because he can guard Kawhi a little bit. He can put some pressure on him, give some relief minutes to Aaron Gordon. But look at this. 43, 42, 43, 42, 43. And this is only 42 minutes for Michael Porter Jr. because Russell Westbrook wasn't available. Russell Westbrook has been playing a lot of minutes with the starters, especially in the second half and fourth quarters. He's been getting those minutes because the hustle points, the extra possessions, defensively. I mean, Michael Porter Jr., he's a cone defensively, but he had a +2 today. So you got to give it to him, right? But he hasn't really added anything else other than his shooting. He had a great day today. Luckily, they had a great day today, and they go home. They can make it a 3-2 series, and you have arguably the best player in the world. I'm sorry, excuse me. Didn't mean to just skip over this. 36, 21, and 8. 36, 21, and 8. 14 to 25, 3 of 6 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. This is why the MVP conversation is so frustrating this year, because he has to do this just to win by 2 points. Okay. And you look at SGA, you look at Jalen Williams, you look at Caruso, you look at Hartenstein, you look at, Wallace, you look at, Isaiah Joe, a number of Chet Holmgren playing great, a number of players on that team that are playing great basketball, can shoot the ball, handle the ball, put it in their hands, they can score. They got another Jalen Williams on the team sitting at the other end of the bench, played him several games straight to end the season, and this dude walked away with 4 triple-doubles out of 5 games. So they have weapons. He has to do this just to win by 2 points. And everybody's saying this is a runaway MVP for SGA. Look, SGA, 68 wins and 14 losses, but I named you all the players they got on their team. You look at Nikola Jokic having to do this with 4 guys making over $100 million just to win by 2 points. Come on now. I don't know why this is even a conversation. I don't even know. We doing this whole your turn, my turn thing with the MVP award, and that's got to stop. All right, that's got to stop. That series is 2-2. I picked the Nuggets before the playoffs even began. I picked the Nuggets to go all the way to the conference finals. Houston, Golden State. Golden State wins game 3. No Jimmy Butler in Golden State. An idea going into this series, everybody talked about, they're going to be so physical with Steph and Curry. Thompson, Brooks, Green occasionally, Van Vliet occasionally. They're going to be so physical with Steph and Curry, he's not going to have a chance this entire series. Everybody's been talking about old heads, Hall of Famers, past players. Stephen Curry could not survive in our era. Could not play basketball in our era. This is the most physical series I've ever seen Steph Curry playing. Not even close. Missed calls, blown calls, grabbing, pushing, shoving. The most physical series I have ever seen Steph Curry play. No Kevin Durant. No Klay Thompson. Jimmy Butler played for a game and a half. And what did he have tonight? 35? There was a graphic that came out. He had like 0 points. He started 0 for 3, 0 for 2 or something like that. 2 points. The man finished 12 of 23, 5 of 13, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, and 36 points in the most physical series he's ever played in. And there's situations where he got fouled shooting the ball and they didn't call it. Grabbing, pushing, shoving, all that stuff. You want me to believe, and I said this before the series, you want me to believe that Ime Udoka made the right decision in the comments that he made about stopping Steph, about stopping Jimmy, about being a more physical team, and how, you know what, if they want to call physical games and everything like that, that plays right in. You want me to believe that was the right move. Going against, like I said, the pettiest NBA player in the league. The pettiest. He heard all that. 41 minutes tonight. 34 minutes from Draymond Green. 7 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals. Kuminga got the start. Really want to see him play more than 17 minutes. I don't know what Steve Curry's doing. 7 points from him. Post, 2 points, but he got 12 rebounds, 4 assists. That's always going to help. I don't care how many shots you miss. You got to contribute in other ways. Podziemski, 10 points, 4 rebounds. But Gary Payton II. Now we see Buddy Hield. He's a shooter, right? Most 3-point makes since he's been in the NBA, all right, in the entire league. So we know what he does. This right here is very important because, like I said about Jaden McDaniels, he's there for defense. That's why he's in the game. That's why he's on the floor. You get 16 points from a guy who comes into the game and his over-under for points is like 4.5. You get 16 from him. 7 to 9 from the field, 2 3-pointers. I mean, that's going to be important because, again, it's about matchups. He steps on the floor, and his matchup is automatically going to be Jalen Green. He outplayed their best player. You get 9 points from Jalen Green. You get 16. I mean, anytime you look at the box score and you see that defensive stopper is offensively outplaying the go-to guy on the other side of the ball, your team is going to have some success. So that was a big-time performance for GP2. This is all going to buy Jimmy Butler enough time to get healthy because guess what? 2-1 series lead, and they have Game 4 in Golden State. Jimmy Butler's not going to see the court until, what, Game 6? I don't want him playing. I don't even want him entertaining the idea of playing. You have a 2-1 series lead. You get game 4, sit out in Houston. Don't play in Houston. All right. Houston will probably go back home, get that game in a blowout. Come back to Golden State. Jimmy plays, knock them out of the playoffs, win this series 4-2. That's the way I see it. But the conversation about Steph Curry not being able to handle this type of physicality, not being able to handle the punishment of, more physical Amin Thompson, Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, Van Vliet, Eason, the amount of players they're throwing at him, pushing, grabbing, shoving, hugging, all that stuff, fouling without it being called. 36. Not to mention, this is also important, 7 rebounds. Let's look at what he's been doing though. I think he had 20 in one game this series. So 36 tonight, 20, 31. So you go what? 31, 36, that's 67 plus 20, that's 87. 87 divided by 3. We'll just say what? 25 a game? Quick math. Yeah, 29 points. 29 points even. All right, so he's putting up what? 29, 18, 21, 29, 7 and 5. 29, 7 and 6. We'll go with that. 29, 7 and 6 in the most physical series he's ever played in. And you have the series lead 2-1 versus a younger, faster, stronger team. I don't see why they choose not to respect Steph Curry. It's like, looking at LeBron, Steph, KD, the big three, as far as, the legends of basketball in this era that are still playing. It's so hard to look at the criticism that they take and they're still being dominant. They're still playing at a high level, still going strong at their ages. I mean, I think it's 37, 38, and then LeBron's 40. I mean, come on, man. To say they couldn't play in another era is blasphemous. But so far, man, this is one of my favorite playoffs from the perspective of the physicality. They are letting these dudes play basketball, and I love it. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments, how do you feel about this year's playoffs? 1 out of 10, rate this. That's one more for the good guys.